So it's Wednesday night. We are halfway to the weekend and another weekend packed full of Premier League action, which means, as always, we have got the Football Fancast boys here to give us their tips on the Fantasy Premier League. Come on, chaps. Here we go. There we go. Hello, mate. Good to see you. Nice to meet you, Johnny. How are you doing? All right.
Not too bad. How are you?
So have we finally bullied James so much that he's left? Is that what's happened?
He's had enough.
He's had enough. Right. Well, let's see how long you last. You lasted a couple of months. He did quite well. The first thing that you've brought to our attention, and this is a very good one, and this is one that I need help with. You've called it a keeper conundrum this season. I think we've got a graphic about it here. It's up here behind me. So straight away, start of the season, I put De Gea in goal because I was like, Mourinho, clean sheets, Man United spent a lot of money, they're going to have a good season. I thought De Gea's guaranteed clean sheets every week. Let 4 in on Sunday, so it's not going too well for me. So these are kind of cheaper replacements.
Yeah, well, it's a tough one because it's where everyone starts, obviously, first place to fill, and you never really know whether to go for, you know, a De Gea, but they're a lot of money, and I wouldn't even say these are cheaper alternatives. I'd say these are ones you should be going for anyway, just because I think Boric as well is the one that really stands out for me on that graphic. 8.3 points per £1 million you spend on him. He's racking up the points as well. He's a very good shot stopper. 3 clean sheets. I mean, you wouldn't, you know, immediately associate Bournemouth with clean sheets, but they've improved from last season. And it just shows you don't really have to go and spend all out for a keeper to pick up points because you get things for like saves. I think you get a point for every 3 saves. And you know, they're sort of keepers that are going to be busy without being too harsh. But they're going to get you points.
And this guy Fabianski, I mean, come the end of the season, it seems every single year he's right up there on the. I mean, he seems to be right up there with the big boys on keepers' points every season in the fantasy football. And I didn't put him in my team because I'm an idiot. But he's doing it again, another clean sheet.
Yeah, I think that just proves that what we were saying about. But you know, you can save the money for elsewhere in your team where you want, you know, maybe you want to fit 2 top strikers in that are going to cost you money. A keeper is one where you can take you can make savings on your millions, but you don't really take a hit in terms of points because every keeper, whether it's De Gea, Courtois, Lloris, Fraser Forster, the best keeper in the league really, they're all going to concede a goal every now and then. So you're not guaranteed a clean sheet anytime they go.
Yeah, I mean that's the key, isn't it? So Pickford from across the way from Newcastle. He's getting rave reviews this season because he's been very, very busy in that Sunderland goal, unsurprisingly seeing the ways they're playing. No clean sheets though, is that the one concern of him? Because Sunderland don't look like they're going to keep any anytime soon. And eventually you do want your clean sheet from your goalkeeper.
Absolutely, I think so. I think Ben Foster would be a better shout completely.
Really?
Yeah. The way West Brom play as well. I don't see why you wouldn't go for him. Yeah,
that's it. No, he's a great keeper. Though he was a bit iffy against Liverpool on the weekend, but generally speaking, no, I agree. And I've made so many subs already that I look at De Gea now and I really want to get rid of him, but I daren't do it. But De Gea's been useless for me, so I completely agree with that. Our next one, wild card picks, and is that looking towards this weekend? We've got a couple of suggestions.
I think really. It's got to that time of year. We've spoken before. We spoke about the tactic of playing your wild card early, which I think me and James both did. But if you've held off, now's sort of the time to consider it. We're almost 10 games in, which is, you know, you get to that point and everyone starts going, well, 10 games in, you know where you are. So the same sort of applies to fantasy football. And I think a lot of people will be considering, because you get a new one in January, obviously, so you want to use it to the best effect, and you want to use it when there's a few games left before the January window. I think these 3 guys, Lallana is on fire for Liverpool. Showed when he came on against United the week before, just changed the game, so he has that sort of impact. Sigurdsson's always a focal point at Swansea, as is Payet.
The centre of everything Swansea do well, doesn't he?
Apart from the goal against Sunderland, nobody's really been talking about Payet too much this season, but he still picked up 5 assists, which is up there. And I think if you look, we've put the average game difficulty, so Fantasy Premier League rank game difficulties from 1 to 5, 1 being the easiest, 5 being the hardest. And if you look at that across their next 10 games, they've all got. I mean, West Ham have got a tricky few weeks, but after that, it's a nice, easy run. So they're ones that you can put in looking towards January to get you through Christmas.
I mean, there's never a sure thing in fantasy football, but is Dimitri Payet about as close as you get in the Premier League at the moment?
Yeah, I think everything goes through him at West Ham, really. They've got a good squad, they've got a great attacking lineup, but he is the focal point.
Yeah, no, he's a class act as well. And like you say, Sigurdsson at the centre of everything that Swansea do well. Now they've got Bob Bradley teaching them how to do some soccer. I'm expecting big things from him in the future. Let's talk about this new boy. Are you excited about this?
I am, yeah. I'd hate to say that this isn't me influencing.
You got fans cheering in the background as well.
I hate to say this isn't me influencing the picks, but it is. This is another one that you can
As soon
consider.
as I saw this slide, I thought Jack's obviously had a say in what we're showing today.
This is another one you can consider for your wild cards because, haven't seen him in the Premier League. He came on against Burnley for a bit. We haven't seen him in the Premier League yet. And then he didn't come on against Burnley, actually, I'm lying completely. He came on against Inter Milan, didn't it?
And City.
And City, yeah.
And City, and they would expect he's on the bench again tonight.
He started tonight.
Oh, he started tonight.
Yeah, I think it's still 0-0, which isn't great, but the one stat that pops up there is the percentage he's picked by, which is no one.
Nobody's got him.
So you get him in and he has a good run. He impresses tonight, gets in the team for the weekend. He'll have a very good run. And again, with the game difficulty, 2.2 difficulty, we've got a couple of tricky games still with Chelsea at the weekend.
He was your club record signing, £16 million from Lille. Great stats last season, played 29, 11 goals and 4 assists as well. Came with rave reviews from France. Is this where, we joked about the fact that you obviously had a say in this slide, but insider knowledge about your own club can be so useful in fantasy football.
Yeah, if you know what the goings on, with a player that I think Buffal, a lot of people have noticed him when he came in from the wider sort of football community because he's a record signing, but he's just gone under the radar since because of his injury. He's not been involved. He's not been picking up headlines. So, we're getting to that stage of the season where maybe a few people in your league are tailing off fantasy football a little bit. So they might not pick him up for a change. You get him in and he scores a couple of goals, that gives you a boost straight away. And if he can replicate that form from last season at all in the Premier League, there's points all over the place.
Pick by 0% is obviously the key statistic there. Is it people afraid to take that plunge because they've not seen him yet, they don't know what to expect from him, and also he's been injured, so they don't know when he's going to get into a team that's playing so well at the moment?
I think so, yeah. And the way when he played in France as well, it's a bit of a not as hard league really. So I think it's a baptism of fire for him surely. But it's a shame he plays for Saints because he's a good player.
I love this. We've got somebody else on and they bully you about being a Southampton fan.
He's got an irrational hatred of Saints, I think, just because living with Saints fans and working with them.
Oh, it's terrible. That's absolutely terrible.
And then comparing them to the dire state that Newcastle are in, he just gets a bit jealous.
You're getting some booze from the beret wearing That surprises me though, because I thought if you go to University of Southampton, it'd be the opposite. You'd form a bit of an affinity towards them.
Well, you should meet my mates. Honestly, Jesus.
Bring him on next time. Bring him on. Bring him on. Oh, really? They gave you a bit of Southampton.
Every day, it's just dreadful,
Yeah,
Look
fair enough.
forward to leaving the house.
Fair enough. Just a quick one as well. We've got a couple of minutes to go to the break. This is your game week 10 team, I believe.
So me and Jay have started getting our combined team together. We've made one change. I think we got 48 points last week, which isn't a bad week.
Yeah, it's pretty solid.
We've made one change this week. We've pulled Son out. Their finishing was a bit questionable. Well, I say a bit questionable. It was very questionable against Bournemouth. And Lallana, Crystal Palace away, not the hardest place to go. So we brought him in. He was cheaper as well. I think we sold Son for 7.7 and bought Lallana in for 7.1. So no, we think we've got a pretty good chance this weekend.
I have to admit, it does look like a.
And Lukaku loves a goal against West Ham. I think he's got 8 goals and 3 assists in 10 games.
At home as well. I just want to go through a couple of names there. Kyle Walker, how good defensively at Tottenham? He's got to keep clean sheet every week, it feels like, almost.
Potentially, yeah. They're such a good unit, carried through from last season, really. I think they were level best defence last season. They're up there again this season. And he's the sort of player, I think we've spoken before about how important it is to the sort of players you put in your back 3, back 4. And we've got 3 right backs there.
The defenders sometimes go under the radar about how important they are actually in fantasy football. Do people get carried away with goals and assists?
I think so, yeah. Most of the players, most of the teams now play such an expansive way. Yeah, defenders involved in all sorts, really.
You're spot on. And just quickly, Joe Allen. Oh, the Welsh Xavi. Yeah. Forget that. Xavi is the Spanish Joe Allen. He's absolutely on fire at the moment.
Just can't leave him out, can you?
No.
And with Swansea at home, they've got a chance of a couple of goals against his old club as well. So I think I don't think he scored at the weekend. So it could be. He was allowed a day off.
Shaqiri
took the goals for for a week, but he'll be back.
He'll be back. Joe Allen will be back. Right, we will move on to FanDuel in just a sec. But first, we have some clips from your predictions from last week. Let's have a look.
Then Blynn's a decent shout. And they've got a good run apart from Chelsea this weekend.
Do you leave it? How long do you trust Ibrahimovic to come good when he's that expensive?
Well, I can't see him. Everyone was going, he's going to score 20 goals a season. Yeah, I don't think he's going to get 20 goals this
You don't
year.
think he's going to get him? No.
He's probably got maybe 6 or 7 left in him, but you think it's just a blip. I think he's going to peter out.
Really?
Rashford's your man up front.
You reckon?
If you're going for a Man United striker, he's your guy.
You know, you can't drop Sanchez at the moment. He's on fire. And
Already scored tonight as well.
exactly. So he's going to keep it going.
Europa League, do you care or?
Yes.
Yeah.
Loves it.
Does it? You love it?
We're going to absolutely walk through into Milan tomorrow.
Yeah. You know, I do think you could. I do think you could.
We are.
Just say that.
There we go. There's
3-1.
There's a clip worth keeping for next week. Do you know, I made a point of going to our editor going, can you get that bit where he said about Southampton into Milan and make sure we have it ready for the show? You're going to absolutely walk through into Milan midweek.
We should have done. He was there. See what I mean? Closet Saints fan, flew all the way to Milan to watch us. Newcastle fan.
Just reporting on the football, you know.
You weren't though, were you? No. You fell asleep in a bar.
Is that true? Did you fall asleep in a bar?
Everyone did, you know, so.
It's a thing out there. We should have done. We threw enough chances to get a result. I mean, it's our own fault because we didn't put them away, but I think losing 1-0 was a bit of a tough result.
Chance to make amends again on Thursday against them.
Yeah, we'll walk through them this week.
That's what I wanted to hear. That's exactly what I wanted. Right, we'll come back to that next time that we see you. Let's move on to FanDuel, which is obviously the one that Football Fancast runs. Slightly more detailed version of fantasy football. You give points for different things. The first graphic I want to look at, which I'm very, very happy to look at this, is the form of the Liverpool front three players. I mean, those three, West Brom on the weekend, they all scored or assisted each other, if that makes sense, within the 2 goals. I think Mane 2 assists, Firmino 1 assist, Coutinho a goal, Mane a goal. I mean, it was superb. They're just on fire, these three, and it doesn't look like, I just can't see it changing anytime soon with the way that Klopp sets that team up.
No, they're just it looks like a free-flowing sort of anyone goes where they want, but it's such professional, well thought out. They all know if Coutinho moves in a bit, Mane knows that he's got to cover that bit, and they can just move around and rotate. I think from watching, you can sort of relate it to Saints a little bit. When we had Lallana and Mane. Don't shake your head. we do, you know, we had a sort of fluid, especially under Pochettino, we had a very fluid sort of attacking lineup that could replicate it. Klopp's taking it to the next level though with these three and Lallana as well. And I'd say it's harsh on Daniel Sturridge, but I don't really like him. But he's just not. I know you love him, but he's just not really fitting in.
Do you know, I have to say, as a Liverpool fan, Daniel Sturridge doesn't get in our strongest 11, personally, in my opinion, at the moment. I don't think our strongest 11 contains a Daniel Sturridge, despite the 2 goals last night. Coutinho, 8 league goals last season, and I've said a million times about Coutinho that I'm actually glad he doesn't score more goals, because as soon as he scores a 15, 20 goal a season,
Real Madrid.
he's Real Madrid or Barcelona. That's the only thing missing. He scored 8 last season. He's on 4 already in 9 games. He's finally adding goals to his game. I mean, that's a scary prospect for defences everywhere, isn't it?
Yeah, he's I think, and the goals he scores as well are just baffling. He just seems to go, no one else is really doing it today. All right, go on then. I'll have a go.
His goal he scored against Southampton
and I think it was really early as well. So I went into that game quite confident. He turned up, did that, and I was like, great.
Mane's been getting loads of praise, obviously, because he's come across in the summer and everyone's saying, and I think he's been a great addition. He's exactly what Liverpool needed, someone who runs in it behind a bit or more. This guy probably doesn't necessarily get the praise he deserves, I think, sometimes, Roberto Firmino. It feels like Liverpool fans love him, who watch him every week, but otherwise he's almost the forgotten man, would it be fair to say?
A bit, yeah. I'd say he's sort of one of the ones that goes under the radar a little in terms of, you know, you've got Mane because he is the new big signing that's come in and frustratingly hasn't been the inconsistent, annoying winger that we had.
Yeah, he's just been really good.
Yeah, I was over the moon in the summer when they were like, nearly 40 million. Yeah, all right then.
Yeah,
you know,
and when we spent it, I thought, oh, come on a bit. There's times he wasn't in the team. Head at you two, yes. Head at you two. I can tell you that West Ham have gone 2-0 up at Chelsea. James will be there.
He's going to be insufferable tomorrow.
Oh,
it's going to be dreadful.
He's not on next Wednesday, is he?
Yeah.
He is on next Wednesday. Fernandes has scored that second goal. No, but well done to West Ham. I'll tell you what, as well, if they could... It was interesting that it's under the lights tonight, and Chelsea, this is going to be the first real test of the Olympic Stadium, because we've talked about Upton Park wasn't always amazing, but they just turned it on now and then. I'd love to be fascinated to see what the atmosphere is like there tonight.
Yeah, I think that's what they need though. They need memories at their new ground. It's always happens when you move ground. You need a game that you can look back and go, yeah.
At the minute they've got a draw with Middlesbrough.
Exactly, and getting a spanking from us. So they got to see Charlie Austin. That's really the only memory they've got.
Spot on. Quickly with Firmino as well. His numbers in Germany were incredible for Hoffenheim. He goals and assists all over the place. He's a proper fantasy football player, isn't he, Firmino?
Absolutely, yeah. I think if you took him out, it'd be the biggest miss, really. I think Mane and Coutinho could step up to plates, but I think Firmino is so influential in attacking areas. I think it's the biggest miss.
It's true, and although the other two get the headlines, I wouldn't be surprised if come 38 league games, Firmino's got the most fantasy football points out of the three of them. And we've got your Ultimate 11 from game week 9 as well.
We have.
For FanDuel as well. Let's have a look. Victor Valdez in goal. Great shout.
He wasn't too busy. He made some important saves, though. I think it's a strange one because, you look at it without having seen the game or listened to the game or been there, you think point away at Arsenal is unbelievable for Middlesbrough, and it is. But I think a few of their fans would have been coming away a bit disappointed they didn't win. They had some great chances in the first half, but no, Valdez put in a great shift. Yeah. And he's another that, he'll be a bit cheaper, and he's always going to be busy. He might not keep a clean sheet every week. They've looked a little bit ropey early on, but he makes some important saves. I
mean, their promotion campaign at Middlesbrough was all based around not conceding goals. So if they can start to recreate some of that in the Premier League, then I think Middlesbrough defenders could definitely be the way to go. Does it hurt seeing Middlesbrough as the best team in the North East at the minute?
Yeah, it does. And Sunderland are probably better than us as well at the moment. Well, not at the moment, but they're in the Premier League. But I think they'll go down, and I think Sunderland will go down, and the mighty Toon will take their place again.
I think you said the other day, didn't you, Newcastle were more recent out of you and Sunderland to have won a Premier League game.
Yeah, we've won a game more recently in the Premier League than Sunderland.
That's a great statistic. That is very, very good. That's very, very good. It was 1 minute to go quickly, but Firmino again, spot on decision with him. And Pedro, when you've got him in your team, 30 seconds in.
Yeah, not bad. That would have been a good start, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That would have put you right up the top, and the way they played was just ridiculous. And Kante popping up with a goal as well. He does so much. He's one of the ones that in FanDuel you could consider. Fancy Premier League you wouldn't really, because the goal at the weekend was a bit of an anomaly. But he's the sort of player in FanDuel that picks up points all over the place.
And just quickly, the highest scoring player of the weekend. I don't know how many people would still have him in the team by the time this weekend rolled around, but Shaqiri, 2 goals.
It's amazing, isn't he?
He's that kind of player, isn't he? You never know what Shaqiri's going to turn up, do you?
No, when Stoke play well, he plays well. So
yeah,
he's so influential to everything they do, especially in that front line they've got. So.
Well, Johnny, it's been a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, lovely.
You're much nicer than James.
It's not hard, though.
Massively furniture. Yeah, it's not that difficult, is it? But we will see you next Wednesday, and we'll review your selections as well, Johnny and Jack. So thank you very much for joining us.